So we're still eating junk food, but we're working our way through the junk food I bought.
No, we're eating quality food too. Just a little bit of junk food.
Okay,
By times a whole lot, but
these potato wedges contain MSG.
Yeah, gotta have fun sometime.
And lots of other things. But last year, before we were at, I think we were at London Drugs getting your medication or something. And it was before the new waves were delivered, just before Christmas around the world. And I decided, okay, I'm going to grab one of these just in case. And so it was going to expire, so I started using it up. And yeah, that's healthier than this. And it stores way better. So I'd actually, if you're going to be stocking your pantry with stuff, I'd recommend protein powder. I know it's a powder, you don't know what's in it really, it's just, I mean, you can look at the ingredients list, but I mean, this contains broccoli, kale, spinach, and probiotics, but I can tell you right now, I don't taste broccoli, kale, or spinach, so there can't be very much of it. And although it's too sweet for my taste, most things are too sweet for my taste, I'd have to say this is delicious.
That's amazing.
As far as pre-made protein powders, that something like this is handy if you're going on, say, a multi-day hike or something. You want something to pack along that you could just mix up and shake it up in a jar or whatever. Along the way, this is great for that. Just keep it in little Ziploc baggies, individually measured, so you know how much each time, and it's easy. It's also easy if you work outside, and same sort of thing. You just want something that you have with you could shake up. But if you're at home, it's probably better to blend up some real fruit and stuff into your smoothies. So, I mean, I use a lot of sour cherry and blueberry, because
blueberries is awesome. Yeah, blueberries by time.
Yeah, you pick the cherries.
Yeah. Locally grown, it doesn't get much more local than
No.
the backyard or front yard.
Yeah, I think that's what a person should aim for.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think most of the yellows that you bought locally grown are they're buying it. Too much work. Actually growing.
But earlier we were talking. Oh, and here's your fish to go along with your chips.
Yeah, that's why I cleared the mangoes off of them. So access them pretty quickly.
What were we talking about last time? Oh, Aryan. We were talking about Haryana. Aryan. And then you started talking about Iran.
Oh.
That's where we left off.
So I believe Iran, that word basically comes from a word that's called with Aryan. Sanskrit. Probably been taken over by Hindi, various Indo-European languages. In India, probably spread to the non-Indo-European languages like the Tamil, Canada, Malayalam. Not sure exactly where the accent comes there, and Telugu. I mean, there's plenty of it. I think there's more linguistic diversity in India or in South Asia, including Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, than there is in all of Western Europe, maybe even all of Europe. So This is kind of concept. Hitler borrowed it, but it's he ran with it. But it's a dangerous concept, this idea of racial purity and racial superiority and things like that. I'm afraid it's the basis of the Indian so-called caste system. It should just be called their color system. That's what the term is, Varna, and it means color. So it's based on race. I call it caste. That's a Portuguese term to translate Varna. And so people will interpret that as class. Nuh-uh. It's color, it's race. So of course you will get the old Gosha saying, oh, it ain't color, No, the only people who in the world who base things on color are people from the southern United States, because there can't be bad people who are non-white, because white people invented evil. It's in their genes. It's so racist, except of course for the Brahmins on top of it all, the vanguard of the evolution, or the revolution, really. Yeah. What you've got with the default setting, basically, over at universities, they don't even really realize where it comes from. It comes from Herbert Marcuse, and I think some of these guys are still thrilled, like Marcuse was, about Freudianism. But what it is it's not even Marxism like, it's Maoism like, where the vanguard of the people, the Brahmins, generally white, of course, unless you're from the People's Republic of China, and then it's lighter than black, and like people from South India, it's the Chinese, they're on top of it all. And but underneath it all, there are who will be your foot soldiers and stuff like that. Those are the peasants of this world, and the people of color. They have to be people of color. Mm-hmm. So there's a kind of like a reverse racism there. So you'll have these whiteys or lighties up on top, the vanguard of the revolution, or Brahmins, and then they'll have a reverse sort of thing. They'll have white working class people right at the bottom, and working their way up to probably black. The darker it is, the better it is, and so on and so forth. And it's not my formulation. It's Marcuse's formulation. And he's still strong on university campuses. That's people who think about it objectively, but there are lots of yellows out there. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that anything else is evil. So, of course, they don't like that word evil because George Bush used it and stuff like that. But that's the way they think, down in their guts. It's bad, or whatever. Evil, bad, whatever. So, that's what we're stuck with out at universities. I don't care what people think. I don't want to pay for that. In the United States, it's maybe a little bit different. They've got some private universities, and some of them tend to be pretty weaselly too. Got some amazing skunks. Harvard and stuff like that. But here in Canada, the big universities are publicly funded. And I don't want to publicly fund any commie/Marxist/Maoist/anarchist/libertarians. I just don't. They want to be libertarian. Let them be free. Why are they taking government funds? Yeah, I don't get it, but... Anyway, Matt Galloway. This is a Matt Galloway watch. I wish it were a Matt Galloway free zone. I don't like paying for your salary, idiot. Tune in today.
You did it.
And it's another person of color. Sounds as though from the Caribbean. Let's get some equal representation. What you're doing, Matt, is systematic. This isn't systemic racism. It's systematic racism. It's reverse racism. It's very, now I know you're probably a white guy.
It's just done to divide the poor working people away from the various people of color, actually, and it's not.
Yep.
It's dividing them between each other.
Yep, exactly right.
It's not.
It's divisive.
It's not meant. When you listen to it, and you get this knee-jerk reaction about why are this minority group, why are they being favored, and why am I not hearing from? This is what's meant to happen right now.
I'm afraid so. It's hugely divisive. It's going to lead to a civil war. It just is. You can't do this. You can't just shut white working class males out. Are they going to fund you, Matt? Who are they going to turn to? They've been turning away from you skunks for 2 generations now.
Honestly, I think right now...
Get a grip. You get a brain.
If you are a Green, and if you have been out working, not at home working, out working during this pandemic, then you're probably a Green. Because you haven't had the option of the privilege of being able to work at home. And collect, as far as I know, the government of Alberta is paying people a premium. They're giving them a little more incentive to work from home. But very few people are able to actually do that. It would be mostly yellows and reds who have the option of working from home. Most working people don't have that option. I mean, I'm sure that the woman who ran my groceries through the last time I went, I'm sure she would love the option to work from home. But I don't think Superstore would let her run through groceries from home somehow. I don't think that would work out for her. Or the person who stocked the produce that I came home with. I'm sure he'd love the option of working from home. But it's just not a reality for a lot of people. So if you're having to work outside of the home during this pandemic, you're probably a Green. And if you are, then
right there.
Right now,
Look there.
I think it's best for Greens to vote Green the next election. Otherwise,
well, I don't know what's happening.
I don't know how well it'll happen.
The Green Party's going to purge that woman who was standing up for Jews. Said Jew herself.
Well, we'll see.
Well, that's the most recent stuff. So Matt Gallagher was attacking her. Matt, buddy, like when you ask a question, let the person answer. Like I was at a anti-masking rally a while back.
If she manages to hold on, then Greens vote Green. If she doesn't, then I don't know who you have to vote for.
Don't vote any Semite.
Because there's even the... Like, NDP used to be the Workers' Party. They are not.
Yep, not anymore. They're the Brahmins' party, and they're using as foot soldiers what they call people of color. It's funny. If you change it and make it shorter, colored people. that's awful. You see what I'm saying? But that's what it is, basically. You say people of color, you're saying colored people.
They just switch.
But here's the deal.
So they have... I heard recently about the Black Academy Awards they're setting up. And at first they were like, what should we call it? And I'm like, Black Academy? But honestly, it's awful.
Well, what would happen if you had White Academy Awards?
It's really racist.
Oh, you
can't
say,
be dividing.
They're just White Academy Awards. Sidney Poitier won an Academy Award in the 60s.
You can't be dividing.
No.
People, you can't be segregating.
Wow.
And say, oh, this is great for an anti-race movement or whatever. No, you're actually dividing races. this is what the yellows are doing right now. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're on the side of whatever minority. And it's like, whoa, are you ever not?
No, you're not. I'm part Indigenous American, part African American. You don't represent me at all. You're misrepresenting me because I'm a mixture.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
Lots of people are mixtures. They just get lost.
It is good.
In your little
it's actually
schema.
good for people to. It shows when a family hasn't been racist for a really long time. If they're a mixture of so many different.
This goes back generation after generation.
But when things get really bad again, that's really racist people. They don't like mixing. They don't like mixing. So multiculturalism. I used to think, oh, that's great, and then I realized that nope. They want to keep the cultures separate.
Yeah,
they don't
exactly.
want any kind of mixing, so that's not a good thing. And
no criticism of cultures.
No.
Aside from Jewish, Christian, capitalist. That's a short list, and I don't know if it gets much further than that. Everything else it's just great. You cannot criticize them.
But when it comes down to it, when things become really, really racist, then anyone who's a mixture of different cultures or ethnic backgrounds or whatever might be wiped out. Like
the general history of these sorts of
been.
things is both sides tend to pick on them. Right?
Yeah, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So I wonder.
So many people have worked so hard for so long to try to pull things together, and it's falling apart.
Before the camera clicks out, I want to follow up on something because I talked
Go
about
ahead.
Matt Galloway, and I said I was at an anti-masker demonstration the other day. I wanted to make that clear.
He wasn't a part of it.
Yeah, I was maintaining social distance. I had a mask on, so I wasn't part of that demonstration or anything like that. Well, it should be a felony to do that sort of stuff. You should be able to demonstrate wearing a mask and doing social distancing, although you should be dissuaded from hanging around in groups. But I was there just to ask some questions. I asked some questions. The reason why I went there was I was driving by and I saw this severe, extreme so-called left-winger. He's really doesn't get more faux than his faux gaucherie. But he's been doing this stupid stuff, trying to divide Indigenous Americans away from everyone else by promoting extremism and stuff like that for decades. There he is, doing the anti-masking. So I'm asking a few questions. I did say, I think I got COVID a while back. All of a sudden, this guy's in my right ear. I'm kind of backing off. Anyway, he's saying, how do you know you got COVID? So I start reasonably answering. And I get 2 words out. I'm exaggerating. Maybe 3. How do you know you got COVID? Well, I'm trying to answer. You see what I'm saying? So this guy's getting up around 70. They're standing on Mayor McGrath Drive here in Lethbridge. Yeah, we have funny names for streets, but most people do. Most cities do. Anyway, we go to a park bench there because this is a Henderson Park. There's a few benches there. He goes, sits down. And he's saying to me, you were really aggressive there. I said,
you already told this story.
But I have to make it clear, okay? Okay, because it has to do with Matt Galloway. I'm using it to describe Matt Gallowey.
Okay.
So I went back. It's not about the story, it's applying it. I went back, we all went back, and I just was asking a few of the people there. These were people with "Don't Tread on Me" flags and stuff like that. They seemed very right-wing. And I said, was I being aggressive? Oh, no. And I wasn't. Now, the guy who thought I was being aggressive, who was really being aggressive with me, was a winger. He's like you, Matt Galloway. You don't let a person, if you don't like them or what they've got to say, particularly, to get a word in edgewise. You guys are useless. There was one guy saying a while back, they were saying, I'd rather talk with a right winger. This was a left winger. Then a left winger, my fellow left wingers, because the left wingers just shut you down. They'll turn you into straw man and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, the latest thing, if you turn on the CBC, you hear it. We need to have a conversation. And they don't have conversation.
One-sided, but yeah, it's a condemnation. I'm having a conversation with you here, Matt Galloway. It's a condemnation. You're not getting a word in edgewise, you useless puke. And I have to pay to hear you do this. Shut down people whose message you don't like. Wham, bam, bam, wham. You're useless. Worse than useless. You're in serious negative territory.
That was your point?
Yeah, it was. I'm finished. Well, not finished, because Matt will be doing useless garbage again. I do want to talk about Kingston. Shame on you. What they did was they relegated a statue of our first Prime Minister to the cemetery in Kingston. But the city of Kingston did that. Now, at least they didn't destroy it.
No.
But it's a form of censorship, like keep this away, like people can't handle it. So I've heard Indigenous people say, he started residence schools. Shut up. He started residence schools. I just feel so disempowered whenever I see a statue like that. I'm going, get a grip. So what's happening now with residence schools is we're having a moral panic, okay? Moral panic. And when you have a moral panic like this, it's an immoral panic. The thing to do is no one's life is in danger. Residence schools were shut down, I think, way too late, but maybe about a little over 20 years ago. So, so no one's having the suffering incurred on them. They've had suffering incurred on them, and they'll have to live with it. But, it's not a question. We've got to shut res schools down. Now, it becomes a matter of relatively dispassionately investigating what actually happened. So I want the Catholic Church to open up all their files. You bozos don't have the right to come in here in a democracy and have your little dictatorship centered out of the Vatican City and not reveal what you've done here or what your predecessors have done here. You have no right. I want all the files open up, all the residence schools. You guys have already tried to do this before, and you're probably still doing it when it comes to abuse in Catholic schools and various institutions. You've got to open that stuff up right now. And what we've got to do is dispassionately look what happened at these various burial grounds. I'm a little skeptical. I'm not saying cynical yet about the numbers that are being reported, but I want objective investigation of what happened in these places. I want some numbers and stuff like that, and I want to find out the figures kept on paper about what happened. But right now what's happening is a moral panic. You faux gauchos are doing moral panics. It's just a moral panic every day. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Like, get a grip. You're always going around saying about right-wingers, the people that you don't like on the left wing, hey, moral panic, moral panic. No, you guys are the ones that get involved in them. You have moral panics about moral panics, you stupid bozos. So stop it. Calm down. Take the stuff down, to a rational level. I know you guys don't believe in rationality, but any sensible person does. You guys are just wackazoid. So calm it down and do an objective investigation of things, okay? And then start punch. But what you do is, hey, 215 people dead. Is it 55 or is it 215? Let's find out for sure. Exhume the stuff. Now, understand there'll be people saying, don't exhume it. Oh, God. You've got to get some sort of evidence. I don't believe people who say, oh, I'm detecting stuff down there. It's got that. Is that one body? Is that two? Whatever. We're going to actually have to get a body count. But Stop the moral panic stuff. You guys are absolutely ridiculous. So here's another moral panic. Oh, it's not global warming. It's climate. What is it? Climate warming?
Crisis?
What was it they called it?
Climate
no,
crisis?
but originally it was climate
change.
Climate change. And then now it's climate crisis, and you do
And
get
then
people
it was
saying
the
climate
war
catastrophe.
on climate or something.
Oh,
and it's like,
God.
what?
You
How
guys
is it
are
war?
useless.
That
It's
sounds
just,
like the war
it's,
on
it's
drugs.
not enough of a panic, so you got to get people in a panic and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of
They're saying they don't like cities, but they say cities will, they want people to get to rusticate themselves, go out and leave cities, because cities are awful and evil. And so they're not that good, but they're going, hey, cities are going to get drowned in 100 years.
I don't know if they want
is
people
that-
to leave cities.
Well, the environmentalists don't believe in cities, okay?
Well, I don't believe in cities.
I don't
But
either.
I don't think
But-
that the yellows feel that way for the most part. It's the environmentalists. There's
There's lots of yellow environmentalists. They're
Yes, there
fake
are.
environmentalists.
Yes, they're environmental politicians.
Lots and lots of. So they're the ones who are going around saying, "Well, your cities are going to." Well, maybe that's not a bad. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, there's all sorts
With
of things.
the population that we've got no choice.
We were hearing about truck drivers a few times. They're calling for more truck drivers, people to be employing themselves so they can drive big trucks, hauling food around, stuff like that. And apparently this is something nobody wants to do because, well, have you ever tried driving straight through like for 8 hours? It's awful.
And then you're doing that day on day.
And then you do that day after day, and it's like, okay, so you get the lifestyle of a rock star without the fans, without the groupies. Yeah, who wants that,
It's
right?
a death style.
It's awful. I mean, what do rock stars live like? Their life expectancy is not high.
Apparently, it's 20 years or so below the average.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So, I mean, if you have a shortage of something in the business world, supply and demand, right? You have to pay more for that.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
If people don't want to work doing that job,
Mm.
that awful job,
Mm.
you're going to have to pay them more.
I've heard
Plain
this
and
several
simple.
times on the CBC. We're facing a truck driver shortage.
Yeah.
A shortage of brains on the part of people hiring truck drivers.
Yeah.
If you have a
gotta pay
shortage,
them more.
up the coinage.
Yep.
Well, it's stupid.
It's really quite
And
simple.
CBC, like they're interviewing people, representatives in the industry and so on and so forth. They don't ask the obvious question: is why can't you get more? Just up the coinage. Because these interviewers are all useless yellows. They have no clue about anything. They haven't really had to work a real job since they're in their teens or something like that, or putting themselves through university. Maybe they've gone through university. I don't know.
Never.
Mm-hmm. I'm being charitable when I say for a long time. It's probably never, because usually when you got university students hired in a place, I was this way too. You're useless. You're not. You're just drawing a wage. There are all sorts of notable exceptions. Yeah. So they never really had to work a permanent job, a real job.
Anyway,
the deal with Kingston and Sir John